He even drops into the water. And now G2 knows what's up.
Just making sure the second player didn't show their hand.
Oh dear. Oh my god.
But what is that plan? Oh, I can actually see you physically wincing watching that go down. Fortunately, they have got the kill plus the bomb plant, but it is a 3-on-3 retake with Jane very low.
Of the map, and you lose so much on the information game that even with the kills they have, it's not a great advantage. That flank from Buster was just massive. Free entrance into that B bomb site, and yeah, the Jame plant looked really crazy out in the open in that fashion, but remember, Buster just came from there. They have no idea that there were 4 players in the staircase. They had to know there were 2 because of the boost to get the kill from Shocks. A strange round when and each team probably didn't necessarily know where the next point of attack or the rotations were going to come from, just Avantgarde coming out on top.
And again, G2 strike, but then fall instantly afterwards, which plays hell with their money. They are back to being flat out broke. Here's the Buster play once again.
That's the other side of it. What a round to go for a risky 4-man stack in the staircase when, you know, your entire economy's on the line. Again, they're just forced into a bye because they need rounds and they need to at least be able to fight for them. So 2 SMGs, upgraded pistols on 2 players. Lucky still has an AK-47 from the previous round that he saved. This time for G2, it's a 4-man stack towards the B bomb site. 1 defender at A. It's going to be Kenny with that SMG. Spots 1. That should allow for a rotation back. Remember, in a previous round, actually, Avantgarde is going to pick up the pace. They don't even want the rotation to come in. And yeah, Kenny, no clue that they let go of the walkie, and G2 can't fight for this. They're not even going to go for it. This is very questionable CT side. If you're going to do this many 4-man stacks on your defense, it just feels like desperation.
Yeah.
Like you can't read the game, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what they're doing across the map, and you're just trying to go for some kind of a random gamble that they'll walk into.
I feel like teams that are confident may do it one time, but if you're doing it every single time, it does seem like you don't have full confidence in your ability to hold with standard positions with lower weaponry. So maybe a bit of insight to G2 there. But also, Kenny's holding A by himself with an MP9 in a position where you have to check long and also short simultaneously.
Yeah, you might as well put the AK there.
I was thinking this while I was watching it, because if Kenny spots someone long, what can he feasibly do?
Well, I mean, we saw exactly what happened. Kenny jumps up, he gets the information, he saw 2 players, and he was just like, I only have an SMG. I don't want to take this fight. I want to fall back and use a Molotov to try and slow things down. And because of that, he doesn't get the follow-up information that they're actually just picking up the pace.
Plus, you know they're going to have Kevlar, and the AK has the one-tap potential, so you surely want the most powerful weapon at your disposal with the 1 player by himself. But either way, that's all in the past. They've got to focus on the future and now, and that's going to be another timeout. They've already used 3 of them, and we're only moving into round 12. In terms of their finances, they have gone for another force. Pure desperation to get rounds on the board right here, right now. But it's going to be an MP9 for Body, MP5 for Kenny S. Shocks for the CZ, and seemingly Jax is going to have himself a Desert Eagle.
Well, G2 fans cannot be feeling good about this game so far. 9-2 in the favor of Avantgarde. You still do not have a goodbye. The 4 players did save. Kenny has reinvested, which is going to keep an op out of his hands in the next round.
Yeah.
Unless they can grab James op somehow.
Yeah, it's that Kenny force that worries me a little bit. And again, similar to what we said last time,
it's the exact same setup.
It's deja vu. It's actually deja vu. This time it's an MP5 rather than an MP9. But it will be the same result if they push him.
We saw this, I think, that Molotov yesterday when we watched G2 play except they threw that Molotov, and then they had a timed flashbang over it to get aggressive, to kind of see if they could force a player out of that position and get an easy pick. This time they don't go for the aggression, and indeed they're starting to rotate back towards the A bomb site. But it's an SMG on Kenny and a CZ on Shocks to defend. Jack's now starting to rotate back with that Deagle. Bomb's still on the B side of the map, basically back towards T-spawn. So Krizen, I would imagine, would go meet up with his teammates.
Centralized defense on the bathroom side. Shock's going to be taking point with the CZ. 30 seconds left, and a Vanguard will be punished. 2 CZ frags by Shocks. 1 magazine is going to yield 2, and Kenny S, with his MP5, is going to strike. This time, he does have backup. Buster tries his absolute best to get something rolling, but is only good for the 1 kill. Leaving Jame in a potential save again. We've seen him do it earlier.
They have players there that they can chase him down if they want, because they can have the flank. But again, it's such a scary proposition for G2 that's had money problems this entire half. You don't want to lose anyone to this, even if you want to get the op out of his hands, even if you maybe want to salvage it for Kenny. You don't want to risk losing too much. Now, they have players who can drop an op over if they'd like to go that route. And indeed they will. It's lucky to drop the op over to Kenny. Nice round from Shocks, 2 kills, a great pop flash. Completely blind is Fitch and Kaikert, and even Krizen not able to handle the spray from Kenny at long range. And they're all able to rotate over this time. No pickup of the pace of Avantgarde. Good rotation back from G2 to get their 3rd.
Molotov down, not quite on the steps though, so Vanguard will not be stopped pushing into playground and balloons. Buster here already. G2 though haven't pushed, almost in similar, identical positions as Shocks was last round.
Oh, Kenny could be in trouble here. Oh, he does get Kenny. That is unfortunate. Jax trades out the kill immediately, but they would have liked to have prevented Kenny from going down, obviously. That was a very fast play from Buster, though, all things considered in the context of this half, how slow they've been going this whole time. They haven't really had to deal with anyone being at bathrooms that quick into the round. And now Krizen just going for a contact play at the B bomb site. Molotov out. Lucky's not ready for it. He follows it up. Body gets blind. And again, it looks like G2, they just can't catch a break. They cannot string rounds together. Immediately after a win for the 3rd time this half, they're going to get reset. At least they still have the op.
Gonna desperately battle tooth and nail to hold on to the AWP and the AK, but yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. G2 have just got nothing in terms of momentum going their way. They pick up a round, instantly get battered. And it's Krizen's 2 entries that really made the difference. Shocks has lost his AK and his armor. A brutal gut punch. Doesn't seem like anyone's going to be able to get the upper hand on Jax for the time being, so he might be able to hold on to this, which would be a little bit of a power play, but it could be too little too late. First, because it looks like Jax is going to get caught, and secondly, because of Vanguard on their T side have already picked up 10 rounds.
And they've taken everything away from G2 in that round. I mean, Shocks has money, Kenny's going to have a rifle, everyone else going to be probably on a FAMAS or SMGs, or just upgraded pistols. This was great from Krizen, and again, I mean, this is Avantgarde not even running executes. I mean, they've done a lot of contact plays. They've been very slow pace, and they've changed the speed of individuals, not necessarily as a team, but you saw Buster just on his own walking up highway and able to get that pick onto Kenny. So, yeah, G2 just getting worked. And even in their wins, they've never been able to eliminate the whole team. And yeah, another timeout. You can see the coach talking things through, trying to give them one last little bit of motivation. They need these last 2 rounds. If they don't get to 5, you have to imagine there's not going to be a great chance to come back in that second half. Still possible, obviously.
Is this their last time out? I thought they'd already called 3.
They have 1 more, I believe.
Okay. So already burnt through a whole bunch of them.
Yep, 1 more for G2.
So it was a Vanguard called 1 as well. That's kind of what threw me off a little bit. They called 1, I think, when they were in the midst of all their round wins. That being said, though, as he said, G2 have gone in for another force.
What else can you do at this point? You just desperately need more rounds. M4 on Kenny, AUG on Shocks. Shocks getting spammed. It's not too bad, just down to 82 HP.
Desperately seeking around. They did get one off the back of Shocks and his double kill. double spray, I guess you could say, with the CZ. So we know that he's still going to be a bit of an issue, a bit of a nuisance. This time he's got the AUG. Aggressive plays on the short side of B. Shocks and Lucky are there. But Vanguard again taking their sweet time, just systematically taking connector, bathroom. Although Buster has decided against that, which could be for the best because Jax is not too far away from him.
The reactions of Buster would have had to snap over if Jax went for a peek. Jax hears him falling back. Ooh, Shock sees one. Oh, he gives up his position just too early. Now some spam coming through behind him, but he can't even win that battle. That's one of the rifles. They needed that to be productive. They needed a kill. Lucky's the only one here, but he's got players coming out of the door. Fitch in the air body's going to add one onto it. And now Avangard a little bit confused. A nice crossfire set up in the heat of the moment, but there's still only one defender. Body's got to hold on a little bit longer. These rotations are coming in on the flank.
Lucky acting as the bait, 25 seconds, body flashbang pushes through the smoke, taking the initiative with the MP9, but now it's down to Jax and Kenny S. Buster in another clutch. 15 seconds to play with, doesn't have control of the bomb. Does have a Molotov on a smoke and maybe should be thinking about throwing one of those. Instead, gonna fake it out. Only 8 seconds, 5 seconds. He's got to get this bomb planted right here, right now. He's gonna get the first frag, looking for a second. But intelligently, Jax wants no part of it. He knows there's not enough time for the bomb plant. Just get the hell out of there. G2 have won the round, but it's at the cost of 4 players. Their last buy, again, is gonna be in tatters.
Yeah, it's not the worst outcome in the world with such a big lead. Obviously, that fake, he was hoping they'd both come through this smoke, but smart play from G2 not to bite on that. Gave him no chance to go back for a replant. But yeah, you're exactly right. Even eliminating 4 players, they can buy up, they can get some rifles, but the utility is going to be real hurt. 1 kid on Kenny S as well. Pretty good round overall. Body did a very nice job. That last play jumping through the smoke seemed a bit wild, but that did buy the time to make sure the fake couldn't be properly executed. And now, once again, control of stairs. Shock's going for that boost again, wants to control water from this position. It's all down to timing. I believe that's Kenny S with the M4. He spots one. That's going to give him the information. That's going to tell his players in the stairwell to be careful. Shock's coming up. He wants part of the action. Timing onto Buster is there, but Kenny S goes down. So many players. Now they're going to get pinched. Oh, James, what a great timing on that peak, and Fitch can hold the staircase.
Going out so aggressively to try and capitalize on as many kills as possible, but they walk into the crossfire. And the rest of the round should be history. Lucky and Body, an MP9 and M4 with an incendiary between the two of them. Surely there's no hope here for G2 to pick up a 5th round. The Vanguard have been very good at closing these kind of advantages out. Definitely fancy them to do it once more. Positions aren't even particularly great for G2. They're both on the B side of the map.
You can't even really fault them in this kind of a scenario. 2 on 4, you have 1 Molotov, you have an SMG and an M4, and you just kind of say, I guess we just stay at the same bomb site and hope they come here. Not going to work out for him, as we can see, as Avangard slowly moves up towards A. All 4 players getting ready to plant, and that'll leave a pretty desperate retake for G2. This whole half has just been desperate scenarios for G2.
Pretty apt word, I would say, to describe the CT side. Here we go. Lucky's going to be making a move up from the A side. There's Charisma, though, finding Body. No 2-pronged attack. It's going to be very one-dimensional. Lucky's going to have to also potentially push through a smoke. His days are numbered. This half will reach its climax, and the Vanguard 11-4 in the lead on the T half. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
That was suffocating. That half is all Avangard. And the 4 round wins that G2 had, they could never string 2 together, and they could never actually eliminate all 5 players of Avangard. A really tough situation for G2 to be in. We're going to find out the conclusion of this game when we return from the break. Stay tuned. Avant-Garde in the full first half, it was all their offensive, up 11-4 over G2, and that G2 that we just witnessed is a shadow of their former selves. You did not see anything to write home about. Nobody wanted to step up to the plate, and they just got bulldozed from start to finish. Shox leads the way for G2 at 13-11. But they have a massive deficit to climb themselves out of, and they're switching onto the harder half, quote-unquote, on that T side of overpass.
I can't really add anything to that. I mean, they genuinely look like a husk of what we are used to seeing from G2 and these players. Shox has been really the only shining beacon. Kenny S, I can't think of a single play that you'd really stand out and say that was his moment. It's just been a shambolic CT side. In
every sense of the word as well. Tactically, in terms of individual level, this G2 team just doesn't seem like they came to play today. It's showing in the scoreline. 4-11. Obviously, you got to start things out with the pistol around here, but Avant-Garde with a chance to close this one out pretty quick and pretty convincingly. Lucky and Jax both with utility, 1 smoke, 1 Molotov, and 4 flashbangs between the two of them. It's going to be towards this B bomb site. Krizen wants the information. He's going to see it with the nades raining over. Plenty of bodies here from Avant-Garde, though, to deal some damage. It is going to be a retake, but they would love to get 1 or 2 kills before the bomb gets planted.
Exactly. They did have a firing squad set up, so I like that he actually backed away and didn't want to overextend, but it may not end up mattering. Body and Lucky straight through with their Glocks, and will be dispatching with haste of a Vanguard, leaving it in a 3-on-5 post plant. Similar to what we saw in the first half, no kits or nades in play for a Vanguard. So it's going to have to be raw fragging, and G2 seemingly awakening from their slumber. Krizen now has a task ahead of him which he can't fulfill in a 1-on-5, and second pistol will go to G2.
Not bad from G2. Getting into that B bomb site, it was supposed to be a pinch onto that site. The players coming out of the staircase, though, could not really coordinate too well with the players defending at Graffiti. And G2 handles the flank perfectly. They realize there's not a whole lot of pressure actually at the bomb site, so keep your attention over towards sandbags. Surely someone's going to come from there and able to get a couple easy kills. 11-5, and G2 now has a chance on this T side.
Heavy SMG presence, 3 of them in total. Galil and AK to boot. And the Vanguard will be stacking, and here we go with a boost. It's a triple boost over the Graffiti side. Just have a quick check into the tunnels. No one's home.
Shox was just there a moment ago, so just missed that timing. He's fallen very far back, though.
In the meanwhile, G2 are snaking their way up long and bathrooms, taking some control. Krizen is going to miss out on this opportunity, potentially. Shox is back there again. As soon as he sees them, though, he's going to know there's 3 players there. So the call will come to the rest of his team while he just goes kill frenzy onto the B side. Can't find anyone else just yet, but the rest of his team now maneuvering onto the A side of the map. And this round should be coming to a conclusion very shortly.
I like the play from Shox, though, to be aggressive out towards sandbags. See if you can build some confidence for yourself, make some money as well. You had so many economic issues in that first half that this MAC-10 with the bonus money can prop you up just a little bit. Oh, the Zeus is out. James got 1. There goes Jax. Just the MAC-10, though. Not a huge deal. Shox does fall, but again, as you mentioned, a decent amount of SMGs, so you haven't lost the valuable guns yet. Nothing that's going to be able to turn the tides for Avant-Garde. They're going to have to upgrade these weapons in the next round. They cannot keep the MAC-10s to fight with.
Exactly. If they do hold on to the MAC-10, it's not really going to do anything against armor. On the G2 side, who of course are going to be upgrading to head armor anyway against CTs. You have to. So 11-6. Will allow Jane to keep the MAC-10, P250 in the hands of Kukert, but G2 back on track. I'm not going to begin to believe, though, until they win this first rifle round. If they do pick this one up, then I'm going to start to believe in the G2 hype again.
Maybe they just sandbagged us through that first half. They're like, we got them right where we want them. 4-11, they're super confident, they're feeling good. Now we can just steamroll them, shock the world.
Well, here is the buy. Distinct lack of utility and no kits.
Meanwhile, while this goes on, the other French team still in contention, Vitality, plays this very same map against Vega Squadron and wins 16-1.
Oof.
So G2 trying to match the performance of their Frenchmen, certainly not in scoreline, but at least in a victory.
That is surprising considering how poor Vitality looked yesterday in parts.
I think both of these, G2 and Vitality, have to be much better than what we saw to them yesterday.
Sure.
That seemed like a pretty poor showing from both squads on day one, and obviously a chance to talk it over overnight. And this is, I mean, remember as well, this is a one-on-one matchup, so neither of these teams is going to be eliminated or move on through this match.
1 minute left. G2 certainly a bit more rapid than we saw their counterparts on the T side at this early stage. Flirting alongside Jame and Fitch have both ate some damage. There's a slight gap in the smoke, but it has just started to fade away, so Fitch playing a bit more safe. This smoke's completely taken his vision away from him, though. It's a bit of a stalemate not long until this smoke clears.
Did they just drop a smoke at Fitch's feet?
They did, yeah.
Instead of a Molotov that they could have used to force him out. Either way, it denies his vision, but he's still going to be able to come out of that. He's going to have all the information. Yeah, there's the first, but no one's checked that. Lucky is holding on to it. A nice hit from G2. Still a chance, though, at 2-on-3. And here's, at the bomb site, that's a must-needed kill from Jamie. He's going to get the no-scope. It does damage, but it doesn't complete the kill, and Buster's got a job to do. He's got Lucky very low, who's just got to stay in the bomb site. Shocks to support.
He has no idea where Shock currently is, though. And there now he's found out. The worst possible way, with a bullet put between his eyes. And G2 will pick up another one. But I've got to say, Jame there is probably gutted with himself for missing that first shot. It looked like a gimme, and that could have definitely changed the tide of that round.
Yeah, he probably hits that more than he misses it, doesn't he? That one's going to hurt, but really well done from G2 once the call comes in to actually execute onto that bomb site. Both these teams have played some pretty passive defensive so far. Like the T-side is able to pretty much walk up long the entire way without any kind of contact, and maybe that changes later on when there's a bit more utility, a bit more money for the CT side, but this is the start G2 needed in this second half. This lead can disappear very, very quickly. One more gun round win for G2, and they'll be right there in contention again.
That's just how cruel the CT side is, economically speaking, which of course G2 know all about because they couldn't string more than one round together.
Yeah.
They were constantly in a perpetual state of financial turmoil. And this time out for Vanguard, discussing a few things. Of course, they could get a few pistols here, but in terms of a heavy investment, definitely would not be the ideal play. Is a Molotov picked up for Crizzen? Maybe a couple Deagles thrown in the mix just for a little bit of firepower?
Yeah, why not? We've seen the Deagles do some crazy things. Especially with, I feel like, especially with teams coming out of the, you know, the CIS region, the Deagles is always a very lovely weapon for them. This would be so impressive if G2's able to make this comeback, because you have to think mentally they didn't have a whole lot to be happy about in that first half, right? Like there's nothing that they could have said, you know, at least this was working. At least this guy's on fire. At least, you know, we're able to make this happen. There's absolutely nothing to be happy about. And a long road to make the comeback a reality.
The only thing I can think of is that Shox was playing pretty decent, but apart from that...
He had like a decent number of kills, right? But it didn't feel like any of them were having like super big impact. Now on this side, he's up to 16. He's got 3 in the second half so far. You also have Lucky at 11 and Kenny at 10. So things are starting to look a little bit better.
He's also the top ADR by 20 on either side at 104. Nearest players are Q-Kurt and Buster with 84. Nearest player on his team, actually, having a look, is 69 for Kenny. So there's quite a
disparity.
Yeah, between the two of them.
Yep.
So we do have a 5-7 picked up. Oh, that's been reverted. Just as I say that, it disappeared off my screen.
Fooled you.
Perhaps the reason why it's being a little bit delayed in terms of the timeout here.
They can go for a pretty, you know, a decent-sized investment on the Avant-Garde side if they'd like. They can get, you know, light armor, upgraded pistol with that losing bonus. If, you know, it's at 3 rounds now, it'd be 4 in the next one if they don't win this. But you can have some element of danger on this defensive side if you'd like to go that route. Freeze time winding down as the timeout ends. I said they could do a little bit of an investment, and James actually going to one-up that a little bit. Goes for the Scout. Now that is the Opera as well. That's really going to limit his purchase in the next round, which is when they'll want to bring some rifles out. So pretty interesting decision there. We'll see what he can do with it. He's going to be aggressive. He wants to get that cheeky little headshot right here towards the staircase. Maybe towards playground. He's, oh, that timing. The opportunity was there, but he didn't stick around long enough to seize it.
So Quicker actually did end up going for the 5-7 in armor, putting him down to 1400, as you say, James 1300. And a bit of a close call to start things off. We'll see Fitch going aggressive through the tunnels, but unfortunately that's into the arms of Kenny S, who will not miss out on that opportunity. And now G2.
You should almost just save at this point if you're Avangard. You can upgrade that armor on Kaikert into full armor for free if you'd like to go that route. Crizin has some utility that he wouldn't have to rebuy, and that scout, it can be used if James is feeling frisky.
Yeah, I assume they just go for the save with a bit of Kevlar as well, and a Deagle. If they stack together and a couple of terrorists push them, can maybe take some AKs out the round.
I think bonus. The save calls come out so early that G2's not even going to go for it. It's not worth the risk, because you know if they've called a save, like right when you take that bomb site, you had that initial contact and now you have nothing. So you know they've just gone to the other side of the map and grouped up. There's no point in chasing down the weapons, especially if it's, you know, things like a 5-7, a scout. You're not too worried about that. You'd actually almost prefer them to have that scout in the next round, right?
Because there is 4.7k for James at this point, so I'm curious what he goes for. If he just drops the scout and maybe upgrades to something else.
Buster's going to drop him in AWP, and James is going to trade him back for an M4. So the scout just gets thrown to the side. Puts their money in a bit of a scary situation if they were to lose this one. 350 is the most money on any of them, but the other four are all at 100 or less. And this is the round, this is exactly what G2 wants, this round right here. And then you can start to forget about the first half. It won't matter any longer because you'll be virtually tied up down the stretch of this map with a great opportunity to take the lead. And that's all you could really ask for if you're G2. Contact play through Monster, one player over towards bathrooms, Crizin. Gonna drop a smoke, Molotov's gonna come out. That smoke is gonna give him the cover he needs, but they are spamming it. Oh, and how is he gonna get away? I don't know how he's alive, 25 health. And he can actually use these smokes in a clever fashion to try and do something tricky. Even a nade bringing him down to 10.
You'd think he's not long for this world, especially once those smokes start to clear. Body's already perched up on the barrels, doing so much damage across the heaven. But now Fitch is going to join his brethren on the B side and put down the pain. Molotov is going to force Kenny out into the open. And somehow, some way, Avangard have made this work. Not only that, but they haven't even lost a player yet. This is a miracle that no one's died.
Someone on G2 in that round needed to find their balls and get through that smoke and be the aggressor. The most aggression you had was Body on those toxic barrels, trying to get a cheeky, cheesy kill over the smoke. But they just got stopped cold. That was the hit they wanted to take. Contact play, they had 4 players there, one on the other side of the map, and they just never actually progressed into the bomb site. Crizin tanks so much damage for Avangard and somehow stays alive at that pillar.
Yeah, I love the play up until a point where everyone just stopped still and didn't keep pushing.
Where people just didn't do anything.
Because I feel like they made the call thinking, okay, they probably don't have much utility. We can force our way out Monster and just overwhelm them. And they got halfway through the plan, and they got indecisive and just stalled out and died. They
had Avangard in a really uncomfortable position for the longest time. Players trying to find some kind of safety, not even really having the idea of fighting back. They were just trying to get behind some cover. And that's where G2 needed to pounce. Once those smoke starts clearing and G2 backs off that ramp, that's when they get to use all their counter utility and really kind of take the fight to G2. 12-8. That's a tough round to lose if you're G2 because you had them on the ropes economically.
Now G2 go from having plentiful money down to a few scraps here and there. $500 for Kenny, $450. Jax under 1,000 for Body. They have got to make this round count. Avangard aggressively up long, actually 3 players strong. Jane, Quickert, and Fitch all in a triangle, leaving both Buster and Crizin on B. This could be a little bit sketchy though if G2 were to push the envelope again on the B side quickly.
They gotta be careful with that bomb out towards long, right? If the main force of your attack is at this B bomb site, this is perfect for Avangard. This is what they want. There's a stack here. Good opening kill from Buster. Now they've got to swing out. Oh, the bombs drop. This is a disaster. An absolute nightmare for G2. There is no way of recovering in this round. Jax is gonna get spotted. There's an AWP holding the angle. And even though Jay misses the shot, look at his teammates falling back. There's no damage that Jax can deliver from this position. No damage dealt onto Avantgarde quite yet. They had the perfect call on defense for what G2 wanted to do.
Yeah, they desperately need to inflict some kind of financial damage across to the CTs here. Still 40 seconds. Jack's thinking about pop flashing out long for Shox to peek. And out he goes, but Fitch, he's not deterred whatsoever. And to make matters worse, Jax has been found and legged. Down to just 32, finished off. And a Vanguard hold the line, and it's flawless.
Oh, they're loving life at the moment. This is so brutal for G2, and in this round, not a whole lot of money to play with on the attacking side. Lucky's got 4,900, and that's the most. Everyone else in the 2,500 range. That bomb on Kenny, who is leading the attack out towards long, that is not what you want, especially with 3 of your teammates over towards the B bomb site.
Especially considering I don't feel like there's any flash preceding the push. It was just a raw, long peek when you have no information.
Kenny, go find us a kill. No, and now running through the Molotov. That's a lot of damage. That's so much damage.
Goodness, trying to catch a Vanguard unawares, but they're not going to be fooled at all. Fitch and Buster, clean house. And it's only Shox that can counteract the CZ, and try as he may, his team go 14-8 behind.
That's an unreal amount of damage to take by just running through a Molotov. Everybody. Yeah, I mean, you got to admire it in some sense, but at the same time, you're starting that attack off with half HP, so an easy Avantgarde just had to bring out the mops. Clean it all up. 14-8 in the favor of Avantgarde, and G2 against the ropes now in this game.
No, they're definitely stumbling, and the Vanguard waiting for that KO blow to come in. This is G2 Esports, pardon me, last chance. They're going to have an AWP in the hands of Kenny again, some AK-47s. Here's the hold from Fitch and Buster on the B side. It's all down to this now for G2. They're eyeing up the very real possibility of going 1 and 2 in the group stage. The challenger stage. And
remember, I mean, some of the teams that we have 0 and 2 at the moment that are going to be playing later on today, we've seen some pretty dangerous one when you think, you know, Fnatic's still in there. Greyhound, despite being 0 and 2, has had some impressive performances that they've just fallen short.
Sure. Including that incredible choke, 13-2.
Yeah, that one hurts.
Really should have been theirs, and they played well against Cloud9.
Yep, so there's still some danger, and especially some of the other 1-1 teams that could drop down to 1 and 2 that would meet them. This is sketchy. Contact through Monster. They have some utility. They don't want to use it just yet. Don't want to give this up. Are they going to be prepared for this stack on sandbags? It's just these two defenders, and Buster's going to spot one. There's the opening kill. Now they'll realize what's coming. Shox finds the kill. Buster cannot get a second. Great openings into the B bomb site. I think Fitch is hoping and praying that he finds one. I don't know if they can go for this. That's convincing from G2. They get in there very, very fast, and they can set up in positions before they even get the bomb planted. It might not even be worth the retake. With this kind of a lead for Avantgarde, the worst decision you can make is going for some kind of ill-advised retake and losing your money. Reinvesting and eventually getting broken, because if you have to save this late in the game, that's the one thing that can allow G2 and Avenue back into it.
Absolutely. Even though it looks like they've got plenty of money on the CT side, that's going to dwindle very quickly. So just bide your time. Use the buffer of rounds that you currently possess. On the other side, G2 absolutely do not want to chase. They want to hold on to all these guns. So we will reach the 14-9 score with 7 players left alive. Only 3 casualties in this round.
So still a little bit of hope for G2 and all the French fans tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, this half's been pretty decent for them, all things considered, when you think that they ended the first one 11-4, and it was looking like they pretty much already had a foot out of this match.
Yeah, the only time that they really kind of made you scratch your heads in this half was that one play where they just kind of stopped short on that B hit.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with that was the crucial round that could have let them, you know, tie things up at 11-11, or I think maybe just get to 11-10 off the save that Avantgarde would have been forced into. So now they've got to do it the hard way. 14-9. That is a very nice nade.
Yeah, answering back after Lucky took some shrapnel in playground earlier. So Quicker and Buster both hemorrhaging as G2 once again start to push up on long. This time there's no one there on the tree. We saw an AUG earlier devastate them. I think it was Quicker that was able to land a triple spray. Bathroom control also going their way, but this really is only half the struggle, half the battle. They've still got to get their hands on this side. They still have plenty of time though, a minute. They have control of the connector, so they could dart down to B if they so choose. Pretty passive defense from Vanguard.
I'm wondering if Avantgarde's trying to like read this play and get a step ahead, because it looks like, I mean, both players defending that A bomb site were kind of pushed close towards bathroom. And I believe Kaikert has actually rotated over to the B bomb site, so it's just Jame here who's playing it so passively with the op. Maybe they saw something in this round that triggered kind of an idea they had of how G2 would play this map, but here come the smokes. Jame trying to block it, body block it, does just a little bit, but there's not enough of a gap that he wanted. A nice attempt. And again, I don't even know if Avantgarde, because of that rotation, I don't even know if they're going to want to fight for this. They don't have any position. They have no leg to stand on, no leg to get started in this retake. Yeah, they're just going to back away slowly.
An odd round too, because I mean, all 5 players still alive. They completely gave up A as soon as the smokes connected.
And now there's enough money on the T side for Shox to at least get curious and try and take some guns away. It doesn't work. He's only got 500, but he'll be dropped over by a teammate for sure, except if they go chasing too hard and lose too many guns. Kenny, oh, this is the op. You got to be careful, Kenny. Don't push in there. It's like a horror movie. Don't turn this corner. Oh, the barrel shows Prison. That's a huge missed opportunity. 15-10 for G2, but they're still losing quite a bit here. A couple kills down the stretch. That op would have been the juicy one. I think Prison must have just been surprised that he just had such a free kill. That sometimes the easiest ones are the hardest. I guess, in a way. I don't know.
That's one of those situations where Kenny gets the sort of reward, but definitely doesn't deserve it. Because I couldn't believe that either. Like, the whole idea was to try and hold on to the gun, really apply as much pressure as possible long term.
1 HP. 1 health. Well, Avantgarde, since they had that big lead at 14-8, they've been playing a pretty conservative style. A couple saves with, you know, a decent amount of manpower left. They've just kind of rotated strategically themselves out of a couple of these rounds. That one for sure, as it seemed like Jame and Kaikert thought that was going to turn into a B hit, and it just doesn't pan out. Still some rounds to play with, so it's not a disaster quite yet, but you'd like to see them start fighting, providing a little bit more resistance.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that stage where constantly pulling back and saving and playing passive just isn't the way forward for a Vanguard. Yeah, they still have a bit of a buffer of rounds, but they're now getting G2 back in this. Their confidence is going to begin to build. They're going to begin to believe they can make this a reality.
They're starting to almost play like the G2 strategy. 1 player at the A bomb site, 4 players towards B. They've just rotated 1 back, and that's a huge opening kill. That's going to be very nice. 3 players at long for G2. I'm trying to listen for information over towards bathrooms. The question is, they've done some contact plays. Do they want to actually do a contact play at A, or are they just going to kind of give it up the game by using utility? Avantgarde still think this is a B hit. These 2 players are posturing like they want to flank down these stairs, and Shox is going to get a freebie. Jame now has a decision to make, but they're going to be in the A bomb site already. This is a really curious round as well. We've seen a couple of these head-scratching rounds tactically in this game so far.
Very odd, considering they actually heard a Molotov land on truck as well. There's no way they didn't hear that. But now the entry back onto the site for a Vanguard. They are now the aggressors. But Kenny S is going to shut down Crizant before getting plucked out by Jame, who's made a move round on the long side. Now Lucky has caught no man's land, leaving Shox all to do. 1 on 3, bomb planted for him. Going to be able to pierce the first head of Fitch, looking for that second. Lands it, and this is the Shox that we all know and love, but it's not quite enough. Buster is there to shut him down, and the Vanguard will have 5 match points.
He had to overextend in that situation because the bomb not planted in default. Couldn't use the bathrooms as effectively as he would have liked to have stopped that defuse and really toy with the diffuser, so he had to just swing out wide and take it. That's a good win for Avantgarde. Again, just very weird positionings when that bomb gets planted. You don't normally see, you know, bathrooms not all the way cleared out. So Kenny had no idea he was flanking around towards long. almost got a little bit of a benefit out of that mistake of trying to cheat on the rotation on the flank down that staircase. 15-10 now. Avangard 5 map points to close this one out. Move to 2-1. That would set G2 at 1-2.
I believe he said that the Vitality Vega Squadron game ended in a Vega Squadron loss, so they would be in the 1-2 bracket as well.
Yes, and we all know Vega Squadron likes to play spoiler.
So 5 match points. G2 do have enough finances to afford a full buy. So it's not going to be a freebie for a Vanguard. They have to go through a timeout first.
Yeah, they'll be able to get that up on Kenny as well. He's got 6,600. Yeah, plenty of cash on the T side, despite some of those losses earlier. 24-11 for Buster. Leads the server. Fitch and Shocks are both tied at 21. Kenny's next up for G2 at 13 and 18.
The sad start for me is actually Jax here, 35 ADR, 7 and 20. He was one of their main players on Cash yesterday. He was performing very well, turned both of our heads.
Yeah.
And yet here, he's been a complete silent factor, hasn't really done anything.
That was a very weird first half, though. It didn't seem like anyone from G2 really felt comfortable in any sense. So never, I mean, and you can see it sometimes in some of these young players, especially at the bigger events with the more pressure and the more importance. Without a hot start, it's tough for them to get going in the game.
So I think we've got a bit of a technical issue. Lucky did DC. I think he's reconnecting. He's restarting his PC, we've just been informed. So it shouldn't be too long.
Fresh restart. It's always a good thing. How often do you restart your computer, Vince?
Not very often, actually.
Yeah?
What to say?
You leave it on when you go to sleep?
No. I definitely turn it off when I go to sleep.
Okay.
Definitely. Otherwise, it'll just blow up.
It would explode. Well, a little bit of time here. Time for G2 to stew in it, thinking of the 5 rounds they're going to play. Shock's likely in his head trying to think of the different ways he wants to approach these rounds and attack this defense. No more mistakes, though, for G2. They can't make any.
Oh, this is it. It's do or die.
They have to be perfect down the stretch and win the next 5.
Absolutely. And even in some of the rounds that they have been picking up, there has been mistakes here and there from both teams.
Oh, yeah.
So to pick 5 up in a row, I can't imagine it's going to happen. Moses, I'd love to be optimistic, but I do feel like this is only going one way. But it looks like we are ready to jump back live into what could be the final round of this 1-on-1 matchup. As we said earlier, it is going to be a full healthy buy for G2.
I'd like to see them take the leash off. I'd like to see some real aggression from this team. Look at Avangard again, 4 players towards the B bomb site. They're just calling, you know, bluff after bluff essentially, where they're just saying, we know you're going to have to go back to the B bomb site at some point, especially since we've stopped you at A a couple times in Buster. 24 kills, he's looking for 25, looks the wrong, oh, he's so fortunate. The timing, not with Shock's body contact play, that's a good trade for Jax. There is one more Toxic Barrels, and Buster still alive, still doing work. He's got his 25th, and he's holding on just narrowly to sandbags.
G2 need a hero right now, a player under the caution, make it 2. Shocks has been obliterated. Kenny and Lucky with the weight of the world on their shoulders. Lucky is going to get the spray through the smoke, nearly able to spin around for a 3rd, but the damage was already done. A Vanguard with 5 match points have converted on their first time of asking. A
very slow-paced game. It almost felt like a cerebral game to a certain degree, and Avangard is going to come out on top. A flat first half sends G2 down to 1-2. In the majors so far. Avangard obviously going to move on to 2-1. We'll have to find out who their opponents are at the end of the day. That's a solid. Going to break. That one down. Oh no, we're going to go straight to the L.
You swing it to hit it. So just really catching everybody here on the jug. Yes. And in this notion, Avatar trying to turn things around yesterday.
Philosophy behind this sort of purchase. If it goes horribly wrong and they don't get a plan, he'll be on a pistol or SMG next round. But I think a player like Lekro, he is the in-game leader for this squad as well. He wants to cause some damage here and just raise the spirit. Again, they're going to smoke down lower ramp, presumably Molotov towards the bomb train here, and we'll see if they can cause a dent. As the flash comes in once again from Get Right, they need to find some opening kills there. Lekro will have to deliver them.
Pretty impressive. From Lekro. He knows the situation. He knows he can get there. Ooh, good movement. Even I was surprised when he arrived on top of the train. Blinded completely by the smoke, he managed to get on top of the railing. Somehow still alive in all of this. Flirting with everyone and somehow getting away. And, okay, I thought he would go from one out of the frying pan into the fire, from one Molotov to the other. The other one extinguishes as he crosses over. Finally, though, he does go down, and it is Dennis and Get Right still in a 2-on-2 as Waylander finds one time is everything. I think Get Right's got this. He knows they're on top of it. The flash, the timing, the sound! Oh, he still got it. He still got it on time.
I feel like if he just stayed on the DPs, Get Right missed enough shots. He had it.
It is, you're absolutely right. Get Right didn't get the kill in the end, so if he had held it for another second, the reset of the aim on the CZ, it's possible.